Hi there. Are you a teacher that's ever had an administrator come into your room and you had this awesome lesson planned out, but you never got that specific feedback that you were hoping to get? Are you an administrator that wants to share things with your teachers, but don't have all the time to write down every single little thing that you notice on your walkthrough? Well, these are things that you seem to be interested in wanting to do. Let me introduce you to Autocrat. Autocrat has been around for a while, and with the new Google Sheets, it is considered an add-on. Unfortunately, that does not work with the mail trigger option. For example, what we want to do is that when the people complete the form, a PDF file is going to get emailed out to them. In order to activate this for our cause, we need to actually start it off on an old Google Sheet. You can access this link by going to the New Visions Cloud Lab on Autocrat, or you can just Google old sheets. I'm also going to provide a link to this in the YouTube video where you can see that we're going to make a copy. I'm going to give it a unique name, and I'm going to have everything be about Autocrat YouTube. Everything's probably going to have those two words on it to help me out. Now that I have the spreadsheet ready to go, I'm going to make my form and fill it in with the questions that I'm looking for on my walkthrough. Now, I'm sure most of you already have experience making a Google form through Google Drive, but just in case you don't, go to drive.google.com. You're going to hit create and then form. You can see on my form I've already filled up. This is actually a copy of one that's been modified that I made last year for my administration team. But we have things such as the administrator visiting, their name, the emails that they're going to do. You definitely want to have a teacher name in there because we want to get the teachers' names appear in the file and the document's going to be created. And of course, we definitely want the email because this is who it's going to go to. Talk to the administration team and see what other criteria that you are looking for in your walkthrough. We have such things as blending learning evident. Do they have the agenda posted? Vocabulary word. There's anecdotal notes that you can use. Personally, I feel that the more that you can do, such as on a numbers graph or seeing on a scale of 1 to 10, I think you can make that data clearly stand up so you can see what's going on very well with a particular teacher and what do they need for a lot of their improvement. I like to make sure that every one of the questions was required. If you don't want to do that, you can just go to edit and just make sure it has the box where it says it's a required question. And on the very bottom, I've checked off everything. This way the administrator can see all the data that they've done. There'll be a link where they can see the results instantly, and they can always edit if they did something wrong. And I have this box here. It's basically these are the directions that the administrator would see. That way they know they complete one walkthrough, they can just hit another response, go to the next room, and get these done as quickly as possible so they can get back and do all the other things that they have to do. If they want to see what it looks like in lifetime, you would hit View Live Form. That is when you would actually go around and start to answer the questions during the walkthrough. You might be thinking it's going to be very difficult and time consuming for you to get every single one of the teachers' names and emails down for your form. I found that the easiest thing is just to kind of explore that school's website, and chances are they may even have a directory laid out all for you. I find that this school, the ones I was working with, has the best layout. It's not listed in a PDF file, it's not hyperlinked, everything is broken down into text and cells, so I can just highlight the teachers that I need. Notice that their emails are listed all the way to the right. And we're going to hit Control C. And I come over to my Google document on the right. I Command V. So notice that each person has their own cell now. So I'm going to be able to make one whole addition into my spreadsheet that has just teachers' names. And I'm going to have one whole part of my form that is teacher emails. Perhaps you might be able to get this through a distribution list through your Outlook program, or maybe this info is stored somewhere on your school server, not the website, but from what I've been looking around, this has been the easiest layout to get all the teachers' names and emails instead of typing them in one at a time. And now that I have all of my teacher's info on the left-hand side of a Google Drive sheet, I'm going to put it into my form in the right spot. So we have to get our teacher's name out of here, so we got to edit it. I already have my name in there just to start things off, but I want to highlight all these teachers. So we're on our left here, highlight the whole cell of all these teachers' names. We're going to hit Command C and come into the number 2 box and hit Command V. You see now it's made a space for every teacher. And again, I had that require question. I hit done. And same thing with the email. My name is already in there for starter. And I'm going to go back to my Drive file on the left. And we're going to highlight all those. Another thing you can do is notice that I have column A and B. It's the teacher's name and then their position. If you wanted to highlight both of those and make a paste so that you know who's doing what, it might be another way to identify that person. And again, we hit done. And we can always hit the drop down arrow and now see that they're all sorted. So please make sure that you have choose from a list for the teacher name and email. It's going to be very important that they receive that info when they get the form done. Okay, so what we got our form all ready to go. You can see this is what it looks like in live time. I can double check by going to my names. I see all my teachers' names down there. I have all my emails as well, including all my other questions that are ready to go. But the problem is Autocrat only works with the old form of Google Sheets in order to complete the mail merge emails, what we're trying to do. So in order to make sure that that gets done correctly so that when we hit submit, the PDF file will be submitted to our teacher, we need to make sure that this form gets connected to this Google spreadsheet. You can know that we're using the old sheets because it says tools. If this was a new form, it would have said that add-ons would be up here. So I'm going to go to my tools, responses, and we want to choose a response destination. By default, it's always going to be a new spreadsheet based on the name, but we want to tell it to go to somewhere else. And we're going to choose. And this one that I made up was just called Autocrat YouTube, and it's right there, checked off for us. I'm going to hit select. And now you can see the form response 1 has now filled in all the header bars, which my criteria. And we can double check to see if this goes well. So I'm just going to randomly pick some data, just kind of fly through it, see how fast it will go through. And I can imagine an administrator walking through on their iPad or their personal device. They can knock these out, even on their phone. They can get these done really quick. All right, and this is where the principal would want to hit submit another response, and there's our results instantly showing up. The next part that we're going to have to do is so that when this gets sent in, an email will be sent to this address. All right, so let's find out what we got to do next in order to make sure that the letter looks correctly for our teachers. Okay, the next thing we're going to work on is the actual letter that the teachers will receive once the administrator hits submit on the form. We're going to get a little clustered with all the files and things we're going to be using, so I'm going to organize my Google Drive to help me out a little bit. I'm going to create a folder now, and since I called everything else Autocrat YouTube, I'm going to make a folder for myself, and I would recommend that you do the same. You want to make a folder up and drag in your form, probably the contacts file that we had before, and we're going to drag those things in. So this was my form, here's my response spreadsheet, and here's my ones with my people. Drag it right in there. Once I open up the YouTube files, I'm now going to make a document. And let's call this teacher letter from Autocrat YouTube. And we hit OK. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit Command V, and I've actually pasted in my letter that I use from another file for my actual teachers. But notice every one of these tags, it's going to see your little mail merge tags, these less than, greater than arrows. Whatever is within these brackets, we're going to pull data from our cells in our spreadsheet. So for example, when you see teacher name James Gorseski, we go back to what we were working on. Where was that? Okay, so here it would say James Gorseski, thanks for letting me observe you. So it's going to pull all of our data. I'd recommend the best thing to do when you're writing this up is whatever you want to appear in the letter, just rewrite the question. So our lesson plans available complete. We have our lesson plans available. And it doesn't matter the color of the text. I just made it red to stand out on the letter. But do make sure that you put these double brackets on both ends. Call it whatever you want. I find the easiest thing to do is give it the same name so that you don't get confused later. And whatever you do, do not put any special characters inside of these brackets or you won't make it work. So just keep it as just words and letters. I wouldn't even do a space. It's just going to help you connect your data later on. So at this time, please create a regular document in Google Docs. Give it a unique name so that you know that you're all connected. And try to create a generic form of your form in the form of a letter with these brackets on the end. And I even have a little message at the end that's pulling the data. They can send an email back because these teachers are going to receive a PDF file form of this letter. So start working on your form at this time.